Hello everyone. In this video, I'd want to talk about how women stigmatize single guys by instilling dread in them. Women must force all men into marriage or long-term relationships because they shame single men by labeling us gay or woman haters. This is because they want you to be an independent man, but they don't want you to think independently, which is why they ask questions like, "Who hurt you?" or "Who do you hate women?" As if our reality is a simulation and ladies were designed to say those things, it's as if they're all imps or non-playable characters in a video game. To entice you back into the relationship plantation, they carefully avoid revealing the fact that relationships are more better for women than for males. Everyone dies alone unless there is a plane crash, so why are you afraid of dying alone? If that doesn't convince you, then things can quickly get out of hand. She might then ask who will hold your hand as you take your final breath, because, according to the nursing home industrial complex, almost everyone dies alone by the time they call your family to say their goodbyes. The last moments you spend in your meat suits are less significant than the years and decades of your life leading up to your dance with death. But for most men, the fear of dying alone hijacks their reasoning. You're lying unconscious on the bathroom floor, soiling yourself before they put you in the soil. Women project their own fear of being alone and dying alone onto men, and it often works. One more defense I've heard is that you haven't found the proper woman. When a woman tells me you just haven't found the right woman yet, all I can think of is how I've been burned in some way by every woman I've ever been with. I touch a stove shaped like memories, and it burns the out of my hand. I touch another and it does the same. After a while, I stop touching them tatas and stay single. When a woman tells me you just haven't found the right woman yet, all I hear is you just. Another argument is that you're going through a midlife crisis, but in reality, what you're going through is a midlife awakening. A crisis implies that there's something wrong with you, but this is just a phase that you'll get over and eventually settle down with a proud bearded clan member. The truth is that women despise us because they can't team us if we remain single, so they project their hatred onto us by saying that we despise women. Back to Shame, meant to wed to some Nagasaurus clown world, display the difficult questions in a shaming tone for unmarried males if you keep coming. They'll start making more desperate claims like, "You must be gay," or, "If you hate women so much, why don't you turn gay?" It's a double standard. You're not allowed to criticize gay men and tell them life would be so much better and easier for them if they just became straight. And a woman is allowed to tell straight men that life would be easier. If you ask me this question, I will respond as follows. Man, why not decide to turn gay if women are so awful and your sexual urge is not diminishing? Oh, that's right, because men are gross and you don't want to have sex with them. You can't fault Vagina for having a trendy T-Rex body, even though she presumably has the mass of a fat Asaurus. She also likely has tiny hands that protrude from a body that resembles a tree stump. When women say all men are pigs, most men aren't insulted unless they've been pigging out on soy and have estrogen flowing through their effeminate veins, which is why Jaina shared that argument, so at least she gets a gold star for candor. She's probably shaming the male form in an attempt to trigger me alone group preference. However, she's too stupid to understand that insulting all men doesn't piss off the individual male. When you're single, your female pals will try to fix you up with one of their friends, or perhaps there's a woman waiting in the rafters who resembles the hunchback of Notre Dame. They only employ them because they believe they have something to gain. Another common response from women when men claim that marriage courts are too risky is to simply obtain a prenuptial agreement. This is similar to the argument that when you turn on your satellite radio, a love song will remind you of love, and when you turn on Netflix, a romantic comedy about some woke wench will be there. You'll be protected. Women believe that men are gullible and will fall for that, and many men do. Women know that prenuptial agreements are worthless and frequently invalidated in court, but they won't tell you that. Instead, they'll happily ruin your life so that they can support one of their single sisters. If you follow their advice, they may brand you a coward. If you claim that prenuptial agreements are ineffective, they may insult you. While this is going on, women are the ones who are being selfish and need a man to give them his time and attention. In order to convince us to agree with them, women resort to petty personal assaults and employ arguments from earlier species. At this point in the video, I've kind of exhausted the arguments women use to shame single men with what I've shared so far should read to about 2 or 3 pages. It's a diversion tactic that suggests there's something wrong with us if we stay single, and then we'll fix ourselves if we find some cooch to crawl into. I would appreciate any feedback you guys can give me about the corny jokes in my arguments and my writing style. Should I condense them down even more, or do you guys enjoy listening to that and would appreciate 200 pages of pure female nature like that? If everything goes well, that's one tiny section down and 99 more to go. Also, let me know what kinds of sections you want to hear about. There are many other reasons that women might give you as to why you need a woman in your life, such as the female chameleon, love goggles, emotional tampons, and so many others that I haven't fully explored. Some of them ask, "Don't you get lonely?" Or, "Did you know that unmarried men don't live as long as the married ones?" What they fail to mention is that many of the unmarried men were once married and had their lives. Some women have claimed to me that men live longer because their wives cook healthy food at home, or that they encourage them to see the hospital sooner when something is wrong. Is untrue because women today hardly know which side of the stove to grab onto. As for encouraging men to visit the doctor, of course they do because they can't risk their man pawn or male emotional tampon passing away too soon, because it's difficult to replace one when a man gets older and their boobs begin to resemble stretched out plastic bags with 5-pin bowling balls inside of them. You fling over your shoulder, I've also admitted to women that I dislike partnerships because I don't enjoy arguing or being nagged at, both of which result in fights. They have responded by telling me that conflicts are a necessary part of any relationship. I've heard arguments that couples who fight for a respectable amount of time are more likely to remain together than those who dance, and even therapists have confirmed this for me. Maybe your goal in life is to irritate and gaslight your partner as much as you can, rather than leaving them for someone else. I've told women before that getting married after a few years is like living with the female roommates. I tell women my mother said that women will then usually say, "That's because you haven't found the right woman yet, what?" If you're going to argue with a woman about staying single, you have to push your emotional buttons because she's using emotional arguments on you, so you have to use them back on her. If you say that women get fat when they get married, then the woman that's criticizing you for being single as she's married will think you're calling her fat, and she'll probably get flustered and run off to the fridge for a cake break. Women know that the majority of men get red-pilled about female nature at some point in their lives. What they want to do is keep the love me long time game going as long as possible until a man figures it out if he's in his 60s or 70s. When he figures it out, then the buzzer in the game of life is about to go off at any moment, so it doesn't matter anymore the women have won his attention and pension belong to the female collective. The idea is to keep the man in the game as long as possible, tugging on his heartstrings and nut strings for as long as possible. If he leaves, the game is over, the men win, and the women lose. Keep in mind that from a financial standpoint for males, a woman's life is better off if she marries and stays married than it is if she marries and then divorces. Contrary to popular belief, however, staying single has a positive financial impact on our lives, while getting married has a negative one. However, getting divorced has a catastrophic financial impact on our lives. When hours worked are taken into account, women in the second half of the millennial cohort make 2% more money than men. If a woman's average income increases by 10 or 20, she may be required to pay alimony. But that could also negate any child support obligations a husband might have to fulfill in the event of a divorce. At that point, women would actually be required to pay for the children out of their own pockets after the divorce, which would lower their own quality of life. If women start earning 20% more than men, it won't be men who will be pleading with men to pay child support. I believe that's all I have to say about this one, but I would highly welcome any feedback on the first half of the video. In any case, that's all for today. Don't forget to smash the like button in the way that women want you to smash their female friends in order to prevent their female friends from smashing their sanity. The idea is for my writing to be educational, humorous, and enjoyable, something that you enjoy reading, because most books are a pain in the Putetsky.